Welcome to the Embrace Strength podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Crocker. I am an experienced trainer and active life professional. I work with people who are struggling with nagging pain to get back to the activities they love without fear of re-injury. This podcast is here to educate and provide value to you on all things health, fitness, staying active, and personal development. Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. Episode number 2 in the same week. Who is she? Am I back? I hope so. But I'm excited to be back this week. At least I think I published an episode earlier this week. Honestly, guys, this week has been so long. Every day has seemed so long. But we made it to Friday, and today I want to talk about mistakes that people make with back pain. And if you're new around here, I have been a coach for 12 years, and I've spent the last 6 years helping people specifically who are dealing with mobility issues and nagging pain. After going through my own ankle injury and rehab process, that really inspired me to niche down into helping this person, because I was sick of just modifying things for people, because that doesn't actually solve anything. So that is the lens that I am speaking from today, and I've worked with so many people who deal with back pain, and I've learned a lot. So I'm sharing, the mistakes people typically make. So we're going to first talk about the avoidance, all right? So people who deal with back pain specifically have this avoidance mentality of I can't bend over, I can't lift anything heavy. And a result of that is a result of their avoidance, they become very fear-based. They fear any type of discomfort, and that results in saying no to a lot of activities in their life. So maybe saying no to running a 5K with their friends, saying no to going on a hike, saying no to skiing, things like that. And in the gym example, I'm avoiding a lot of upper body, so I'm just going to do upper body stuff. And the thing about avoidance with movement and stuff like that is it only makes your body more sensitive to movements to continue to avoid them. So really, you're just digging yourself in a bigger hole rather than I don't know. I feel like people think that they're doing something good for their back pain by avoiding these things, but in the long run, you're really not. But anyway, so along with that, this type of person also avoids any rotation. So those are some of the main things activity-wise, gym-wise that I see. And then also resting too much is going to be one that I want to talk about, because people who deal with back pain tend to stay in this cycle of, all right, I'm back in the gym doing things. Oh, I overdid it. I'm going to rest for a couple of weeks until I feel better. Then they get back in the gym, back to their old routine. Oh, they're flared up again. So they just get stuck in this cycle of resting till it feels better. But then they go back to what they were doing before, which is too much. And then they just end up in the cycle of resting, and they never actually make any progress towards anything because they're spending so much time resting and don't actually know how to get back into the gym safely. So if you're somebody dealing with back pain and you do have discomfort with bending over, rotation, moving a certain way, I want you to know that our spine was actually made to move. It was meant to move. It wasn't meant to just stay in one place and stay still. And when we experience pain with these things, it just means our body is undertrained and underprepared for what we're asking it to do. So the truth is there's no bad movements no bad movements, for back pain. Just a movement is going to feel like a quote unquote bad movement if our body isn't prepared to do it. And then we experience pain as a result of that because we're underprepared. So what is the answer, you might be wondering? The answer is simple, but you're not going to like it if you have an ego, okay? You have to meet your body where it's at when it comes to the gym, when it comes to movement, all right? And how you do that is you have to assess like what the heck is actually going on with your body so you actually know how to start safely. Otherwise, you're just truly guessing and you have no idea what you're really dealing with. So what I mean by an assessment is like, so all the clients that I work with, back pain or no back pain, everyone goes through an assessment, okay? But I look at your joint by joint, flexibility, mobility, and we look at overall strength, right side of the body versus the left side of the body. That is going to give us so much information as far as like what's going on. So an example of some assessment results I've seen in people who deal with back pain is like they struggle with range of motion to touch the ground, which is expected. So that back side of the body, their posterior chain, needs some help. It needs some length, some strength. And then their lower body, usually I find some type of strength and balance in their lower body, whether that's like, okay, you have one leg that's 75% stronger than the other leg, and that needs to be addressed. Or we have very weak inner thighs, very weak hips, stuff like that. And all of that is related to their back pain most often, because once we started addressing these gaps in their assessment, mobility wise and strength wise, they start to feel night and day difference. But that is actually how you get in the gym safely. You have to have an assessment to see, okay, what's actually going on. You have to be doing like a custom program based on what comes up in the assessment. And then as you gain range of motion, gain strength, your body starts to feel better. You gradually expose your body to these things like rotation, bending, or like bending over with more load. And you reintroduce those things that were once triggers slowly as your body's ready for it. And that's how you increase your capacity and strength over time. And if you're somebody who has been like trying to navigate the gym, dealing with back pain on your own, I bet you do too much too soon. You're not doing things that make sense for your body, depending on where it's at. And like another thing I didn't mention is that typically based on the assessment results of a back pain client, we're not doing any two-legged bilateral work. Everything is single leg typically. And like that's how you really rebuild a foundation, because when there's a strength imbalance and you do things on two legs, there are compensations happening that is only making the strength imbalance worse. So like that's another tweak that I have seen time and time again is like single leg work only for a period of time as we are working on these things, and then you sprinkle back in the bilateral and more complex movements, I suppose. But anyways, this is a wrap for today's episode, but I hope you learned something. If you did learn something, I wanted to send this to your gym friend who also deals with back pain, so that they can learn something. I want people to receive my message who need to hear it. So thank you for listening. Share it with a friend. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already. My handle is Coach Ashley127, and I will talk to you next time.